Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. And today, I believe this is going to be, well, I don't want to say our final piece of AFM news because I said that last Friday. And look where we're at now. We're still talking about the American film market. And more specifically, we're talking about indies' battle for talent as studios and streamers lock up A-listers. With studios and streaming services ratcheting up production to satisfy the appetite of online subscribers, they are block booking the most in-demand actors and directors, making them unavailable for the independent market. Quote, "We are seeing a shortage of talent availability across the board." In Hollywood's golden age, when actors were salaried employees, the idea of a quote-unquote independent film industry with movies made outside the studio system was an impossibility. It took antitrust laws to smash the old studio model, giving rise to indie cinema and in all its messy glory. And yes, the case that they are referring to, I believe, was United States v. Paramount in 1948, because so, like, guys, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a legal expert, but you know what that case came down to. You have to remember the way that the studio systems were operating back then. Back in the 30s and 40s, studios were selling movies in blocks. So they would have like 4 or 5 of their big movies, and then they would sell those to theaters. But what they would do is they would throw in a bunch of like low budget crap films in there too that the theaters had to buy along with those major movies. And also what most people forget is that the movie studios also own the movie theaters. You know, Paramount owned the Paramount Theater. So, and I don't remember the name of that case, but it basically came down to, you know, the studio owners had 2 choices. Either own the movie studios or own the movie theaters. You cannot own both. And that's how we got to the film industry of today. But now the studio system is making a comeback, sort of. As streaming companies and studio-backed streamers like Disney Plus and AT&T own Warner Media's HBO Max, ratchet up production to satisfy the seemingly insatiable appetite of online subscribers, they are block booking the most in-demand actors and directing talent, making them unavailable for the independent market. In 2021 alone, Netflix signed first look or multi-year deals with Jennifer Garner and Jennifer Lopez, Pieces of a Woman actress Vanessa Kirby, Kevin Hart, and French superstar Omar Sy, as well as first look agreements with in-demand filmmakers Sean Levy, Peter Berg, Gareth Evans, and Noah Baumbach. Quote, "It's becoming a lot more challenging to get top talent," says Jonathan Younger, co-president of indie producer Millennium Media. "A major actor these days, when they roll out of bed in the morning before they've brushed their teeth, they've got 12 great offers from the streamers and the studios in front of their face. Good projects for lots of money." Pulling together the cast of the Expendables 4. So here's our Expendables 4 connection. Pulling together the cast for the Expendables 4, the latest in Millennium's action franchise, which features returning stars Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, and Dolph Lundgren, alongside new additions Megan Fox, 50 Cent, and the Raid star Iko Uwais, was a quote-unquote crazy puzzle, says Younger. Quote, "Just think of someone like 50 Cent, who has to juggle not just film and TV offers, but now concert dates as well." Indeed, one of the hottest indie projects of last year, The Blacksmith, a John Wick-style actioner from Taken director Pierre Morel, damn it, wrong pipe, had to be put on hold after actor-singer Nick Jonas, who had signed on to star, pulled out citing scheduling conflicts. More common are last-minute casting changes, as when Rocketman actor Taron Egerton came on board Wild Bunch's Claire Denis-directed thriller Stars at Noon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. I don't know if it's pronounced Dennis or Denis, like the Denis Villeneuve, replacing Robert Pattinson. Pattinson, a one-time indie darling who worked with Dennis in her 2018 sci-fi movie High Life, recently signed a first-look deal with Warner Bros. Pictures. Pattinson will star as the Batman in Warner's upcoming superhero reboot. Quote, "More and more producers are definitely having this problem, and it means producers can't plan ahead anymore, and they're just having to go to the wire," says Phil Hunt, founder and head of London-based financier Headgear Films. For his latest feature, the true crime thriller He Went That Way, Hunt says the producer only secured Zachary Quinto for the starring role by going through a friend of the Star Trek actor instead of his agent. Quote, but they're shooting in 3 weeks and are still casting, says Hunt, and that's just one example of most of the films we get involved with. For The Portable Door, one of the hot projects being shopped around this year's American film market, which runs November 1st through 5th, producer and financier ArcLight Films was forced into a casting change after Guy Pearce, initially set to star alongside Christoph Waltz in the fantasy satire, pulled out at the last minute. Quote, it was a massive scramble, but fortunately Sam Neill was available and he did an amazing job in the role, says ArcLight CFO Brian Beckman. But we are seeing a shortage of talent availability across the board, not just from actors, but all down the line. It's hard to find cinematographers. It's hard to find art directors. It's hard to find everyone. Well, just a few weeks ago, you're now down one more cinematographer.
Tragedy on a movie set in New Mexico. Actor Alec Baldwin involved in a deadly shooting. Police say that Baldwin fired a prop gun and killed the film's cinematographer and wounded the director.
It happened on the set of Baldwin's upcoming Western called Rust. Production of the film has been shut down for the foreseeable future. An investigation is underway. A spokesman from the production called the incident an accident.
Oh, sorry, too soon. I wonder how everyone feels about Alec. I wonder how everyone still feels about Alec Baldwin after that. But anyway, getting back to this. Quote, we are finding that people are booked out of the next few years, sometimes longer, agrees Kristen Figueroa, managing director and executive VP at Sierra Affinity. Quote, the question becomes, do you go for your second, third, or fourth choice? Do you try out an unknown or a first-time director, or are you extra patient and wait for that first choice person? Hunt points to a positive flip side of the talent shortage. With the obvious names unavailable, indie producers are looking farther afield and giving new talent, often from underrepresented groups, a chance. Quote, and sometimes this is better for the film because you end up casting a person because he or she is the best person for the role, not because they are a quote-unquote star, he says. That's what's kind of happening right now. Last-minute castings are turning up some really pleasant surprises. And that much I do, and I do agree with it, is that the positive side of it is that now, you know, these independent producers have no choice but to give the smaller guys a shot now. You know, you can't rely on the Robert Pattinsons and the Guy Pearces of the world anymore. And, you know, this is this is the part that not even the studios themselves are thinking about, is that if the indies have to start being, you know, just even more competitive again, how many of these up and comers are going to become stars in and of themselves? So now you're looking at this potentially a few years down the line. Now the studios are having to compete with more and more quote-unquote stars than they did before. So are they really going to splurge all that money to try to secure them, if they'll even go for a studio deal? Because let's be honest, the studio system is not going to take the L. So I'm actually kind of really funny that this one time, you know, corporate influence, you know, in locking these actors down, may end up coming back and really biting these studios in the ass down the road. And guys, that's pretty much all I got for you. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I will just see you guys next time.